The Federal Aviation Administration and Transportation Secretary Ray LaHood said yesterday the United States will increase the required rest time to 9 hours for air traffic controllers between shifts after the recent discovery that a number of controllers were sleeping on the job. Secretary LaHood joins us now in Washington with more on these new rules. Secretary LaHood, if I understand it correctly, you're increasing from 8 to 9 hours the minimum required rest time between shifts. Is that enough, really, to stop this problem?
If it's not enough, we'll do more. We're not bashful about doing what it takes to make sure that controllers come to work well-rested, alert, well-trained, and to make sure that the kind of schedules that they have are the schedules that really make sense. And our administrator and the president of the union are traveling the country this week. They start out in Atlanta this morning. They're going to be talking to controllers. They're going to be talking about workplace rules. And if we need to do more, we'll do more. If more is needed, we're not bashful about doing more. And but for now, we think increasing it to 9 hours of rest is what it will take to do what we want to do, which is to have well-rested controllers. Let me just say one other thing. Because of the outrage that I feel about this and the unhappiness I feel about this, our message is also that controllers need to take personal responsibility to make sure they are well rested, to make sure when they come to work that they know that safety has to be their #1 priority. And personal responsibility will be part of the message that our administrator and the president of the union will be talking to controllers about today.
Mr. Secretary, do you think that's a problem now? Do you think employees don't take their roles seriously?
I think 7 employees didn't take their role seriously. I think the 7 that fell asleep were not serious and were not well rested, and they've been suspended, and we're doing investigations. Now, there are 15,000 controllers in the country, and we're going to try and visit with a number of them to find out how they feel about workplace rules, how they feel about the kind of work they do, and to kind of test their temperature. But the 7 that slept are suspended, and they obviously didn't take their work seriously.
Secretary LaHood, you know some people are wondering to themselves how you, as the Transportation Secretary, let this happen, because the more we read about it and the more we learn, the more we find out that it was no secret. This 2-2-1 shifting, the fact that air traffic controllers were liable to fall asleep because of their efforts to maximize off time.
Well, look, we're not going to take a back seat to anybody when it comes to safety. I've been on this job 2.5 years. As soon as I learned about what happened in the first instance in Washington, D.C., where there was 1 controller, I put 2 controllers in 27 control towers from midnight to 6. As soon as I learned that there were other sleeping controllers, we've increased the rest time. As soon as I learned about these 7 controllers, we changed the management schedules. We will continue to do whatever we have to do to make sure that control towers have controllers that are well rested, well trained, and have safety as their #1 priority. But I'm not going to take a back seat to anybody on this.
Mr. Secretary, I understand that, and that clearly is what the American people want to hear. But again, this is not a brand new issue. Is there something wrong with your organization that you weren't informed of this until people were found sleeping on the job?
Well, it is a brand new issue for me. I said I've been on the job 2.5 years. Safety is always the #1 priority for me in trains, planes, automobiles, motor coaches, any form of transportation. As soon as I learned about it, we took action.
Mr. Secretary, one thing that surprised some FAA fatigue experts and some unions is that you said you do not want people napping on the job, and some have said that if controllers are allowed to nap during breaks, this could decrease chances of somebody literally falling asleep at the switch. Why are you so against that measure?
Because we're paying people to come to work well rested and well trained. Like any profession in this country, when you come to work, you need to come to work with the ability to do your job. We're not going to pay controllers to take naps. I don't know of any other profession that does that. So controllers need to take personal responsibility to get a good night's sleep or a good day's sleep, come to work with the idea that they're going to do their job in a way that reflects total safety in the control towers and being well rested. Paying controllers to sleep will not happen on my watch.
Let's talk about the shifting business for a moment. We made reference to 2-2-1 a little while ago. Why are these air traffic controllers allowed to schedule their shifts in such a way that it does maximize time off? Why don't they just come to work every day at the same time, probably the way that you do, the way that we do, the way that most people do, so one person has the night shift and one person has the day shift?
Well, look, it's a good point, and it's a flaw in the system. We consider it a flaw, and that's why we changed it. They wanted to do that so that they could have a long weekend. And again, when controllers take time off, just like a pilot, when a pilot takes the time off, the rest time, they have to rest. They can't be out doing other things without the proper rest. And so we're increasing the rest time, and we're changing their schedules because we believe there was a flaw in the system that allowed them to take time off and not get the proper rest in order to come back and
so
do
Secretary
the job
LaHood, I just want to make sure that everybody understands this. They are no longer allowed to schedule their shifts in such a way that it'll be one day on, one night on, and then one overnight shift. That is over. It's going to be more along the lines of what I just described there.
It's going to be more along the lines of what common, ordinary people do, which is go to work, work their shift, and go home and rest and come back well rested and well trained to do the job.
Mr. Secretary, we just talked about shifting, ideally or in theory, people working less or just on a different time schedule. Should the airlines pick up any of the cost for this, I don't know, you could argue lower productivity?
What we need to do is get Congress to pass an FAA bill. The FAA bill would provide the resources that we need to continue to make progress in safety, to pay our controllers and have a good FAA program. That bill has been extended 18 times. So I'm going to encourage Congress, when they come back from their Easter break, to pass the FAA bill. Don't extend it anymore and give us the resources we need and the programs we need and the safety programs we need to continue to make progress.
Well, Mr. Secretary, you know that people in Congress would be encouraged to pass that bill if they saw action being taken. You say that you're taking action. What about the controllers themselves? Only one person, so far as we're aware, has lost his job or is no longer in his job as a result of this, the Chief Operating Officer, Hank Krakowski. Why? This is a question you know so many people are asking. Why aren't the air traffic controllers who were found sleeping fired?
Well, we have to do investigations. In order to make sure that we get it right, we've suspended these controllers. Investigations are going on, and I guarantee you, as soon as we complete those investigations and make recommendations, you'll all know about it. We take seriously this idea of safety, of being well rested, of making sure that schedules are correct. And when these investigations are complete, we'll be making announcements about actions that have been taken.
Mr. Secretary,
these controllers are not working.
Pardon me?
These controllers are not working. They're suspended.
No, we realize they've been suspended, but you know that if there are many industries in which such infractions would result in immediate firing. If you were found sleeping on the job, there's just no question many companies and perhaps even in the government, the action required would be immediate dismissal.
Well, we'll do it the fair way. We'll do it thoroughly, and when it's done, you'll all know what our recommendations are.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Transportation Secretary Ray LaHood joining us here on the Inside Track to talk about the problem, shall we say, of air traffic controllers falling asleep on the job.